Welcome to the Lock-In podcast. This is episode 22 for Tuesday, 25th of August, 2020. Our website, thelockin.ie. The show is in audio and video formats and it's available on all the podcasting platforms. The Lock-In podcast is produced by Black Knight. Our real job is keeping the internet running, or at least part of it. We're a web hosting company based in Carlow, Ireland. And the show is called The Lock-In because we took a suggestion from a tweet by the economist David McWilliams. A lock-in is different from a lockdown. It's something we choose to do rather than something that's imposed upon us. It's about pulling the curtains and locking the door and throwing another sod of turf on the fire. And that's a very attractive idea on a day like today, as Storm Francis gives Ireland a bit of a fright. My name is Colin Winnichan. I'm working from my home in County Clare and I'm on a Zoom call with Susie King Butler, who is the owner of a music school called Musica Fusion in Charleville, County Cork. How's the weather, Susie?
Oh, an awful storm. Getting beaten around here now.
Thanks for taking my call. Susie, I wanted to talk to you this week because it's back to school time, but also because I've followed your posts over many years as you established Musica Fusion and as you've built it up and it's grown to what it is today. You guys are already in the business of being creative and innovative, and you're continuing to do so in your response to this crisis. I want to ask you about that in a moment and how you're responding to coronavirus. But can we start at the beginning, please? What is Musica Fusion? How do you describe it? Why did you set it up, and how far have you come?
Okay, well, it started as a bunch of summer camps. For a few years we were doing summer camps. My eldest daughter, who's now living in Glasgow, she's a double bassist, and she had just started college doing her double bass performance degree and had a great amount of friends who were extremely talented and full of energy and enthusiasm. So we decided, with the wealth of knowledge between us all and the music and the mayhem, we would do some summer camps, and they took off really, really well. So we said, look, you know what, let's move a little bit further afield and try a music school. So we went to Charleville, which is maybe about 20 minutes from my home. Beautiful town. It's got basically everything you could need there, but it didn't have a music school at the time. So we opened up the music school with 3 teachers and 40 students back in 2015. And within a year and a half, we had grown to, I suppose, about 150 students and 10 teachers, and now heading into year 6, we had pre-COVID 300 plus students and 20 odd teachers. So it just grew and grew from a little kind of a seed of music and mayhem, because that's what it's all about. As you can see in the walls behind me here, the whole school is full of colours and we're all cracked. I mean, in a nice way, we're all cracked. We all love what we do. We love music. We spend more time giggling and laughing, than anything else. So it's great fun. It's a fun place to be. And yeah, we have so many different instruments. We have 30 odd instruments that we teach here between us all. We have group classes in performing arts, hip hop, ballet. One of the really cool things that we do here is creative writing, which Nolene Nash does with us on a Saturday, which is lovely for kids who have dyslexia or anybody who's interested in writing. And I suppose my personal favourite is the Little Musicas. Our Little Musicas start at the age of 3 with their parents. It's kind of a pre-music fun course, and they just go up along the school, pick an instrument, and here we are, year 6, and our Little Musicas that started at the age of 3 have already played in the National Concert Hall. They're playing cello, double bass, violin, clarinet, flute, and they're still in the school, and it's a wonderful thing to see them grow. So it's fantastic. We have great fun.
It's amazing. I'm speechless just listening to the whole thing. And you were telling me earlier, sign language you teach as well.
Sign language as well, because I think people forget, that there's a whole section of society that are completely cut out. And it really does behove us, to learn their language a little bit, even if it's only a small bit of it. And sign language and music it's all about communication.
Yes.
So they do go hand in hand. So we have a wonderful sign language teacher called Carl McGurk.
Yes.
And he teaches here as well. So yeah, there's plenty going on. I suppose the biggest thing that goes on here is our non-for-profit, which is our orchestra.
Yes.
And the orchestra is, I can't tell you how many hours a week I spend on the orchestra, but it is without doubt the best thing that I do all week. I just come out smiling. We have about 80 children from the age of 4 to 15, 16. We're talking about complete beginners to grade 7s and grade 8s, and we meld them all together in a wonderful. We don't have a junior orchestra and a senior orchestra. We have just one orchestra together. So we write different lines for everybody. So you have a 4-year-old playing Tchaikovsky, because instead of playing all the main notes, the 4-year-old is just plucking on the open strings when they need to, or not, depending on how much they concentrate. But it's a great thing to have here in the school. A lot of the teachers volunteer their time for free for that. 4 teachers in particular give up an awful lot of time and energy to it. My own daughter did a lot of the score writing for the orchestra. And I suppose that is the biggest thing, Musica Fusion Community Orchestra, that has kind of come out of this. We played in the National Concert Hall. We won an award for Orchestra of the Year in 2018. And, it's been a fantastic journey. Just before the lockdown, we were due to play, literally 3 days before the lockdown, we were due to play in the University Concert Hall with a 300-piece orchestra from America in a concert called Hands Across the Sea. So we were very disappointed that we were locked down before that, but the guys couldn't fly over anyway, so it wasn't going to happen. But it's just, this is a place where just so much is going on.
So much is going on, and in Musica Fusion, Susie. And as I said, I've been following your progress over the last couple of years. Lots of people will know Charleville quite well, and be astonished to discover that all of this is going on behind closed doors.
Absolutely. There's more to Charleville than sports. We're here and we're pushing classical music. We had the Bamberg Quartet. Well, they're not a quartet anymore, but the RT Bamberg came to us last November. Our orchestra played for them, and they did a wonderful concert upstairs for us. So it's great. We're touching base with classical music. We're touching base with trad music, rock music, hip hop. It is a real, true fusion.
So much going on, Susie. And then, as you say, coronavirus came along. Schools, businesses, everyone closed their doors. What did you do? What happened?
Okay, well, I suppose we were a little bit prepared in that about a week and a half beforehand, I kind of said to the teachers, look, it's looking like we're going to close down, let's prepare. So we all learned as quickly as we could how to use Zoom. I won't say I'm great at it now, but because I'm an absolute tech idiot. My husband does all that sort of stuff, as you know. We all had a quick course in Zoom, and then we decided that for different age groups, rather than try and continue the lessons online for them, we would do a lot of recorded classes. So, for example, for the little musicas, I recorded classes because obviously having 10 small 3-year-olds coming back at me in Zoom wasn't going to work. So, I mean, really, we did the most imaginative, crazy things. The day after we locked down, we locked the whole school and all the teachers came here together. We recorded each other. We gave each other suggestions, and we did 3 weeks worth of recording in one day in about 12 hours. Just to give you an example, I mean, I was inside in the hall there with beanbags around and little dolls there doing my little music class and clapping my crazies out and shaking my sillies out. When I look back at it now, I think to myself, oh my goodness, but the parents got a great laugh at it, and the parents were absolutely so appreciative of all of the efforts that we put into keeping the kids going, because we still had 3 weeks left in that term. We had to finish that term. From a business side of it, I had to finish it because we get paid at the start of the year, so we wouldn't have been in a financial position to pay it back. But from a continuity point of view as well, we have to keep going.
Yes.
We can't stop. So we did our 3 weeks online. We had so many funny stories. I mean, honestly, teaching online can be hilarious. I now know all my students' favorite toys and teddies and their brothers and their sisters. I was telling you earlier, I mean, we've so many funny stories, but one of them is a little girl I was teaching, and she decided to go to the bathroom in the middle of the Zoom meeting and the Zoom lesson, and she never came back. And I was just sitting there looking into her room. I could hear her kind of singing along in the background, and I'm shouting at her and saying, hello, come back, come back. And eventually I had to ring her mum and say, do you know that so-and-so hasn't come back into the room? But, that was just one of an amazing stories that happened. But whatever about keeping the school going, the orchestra had to stay going,
Yes.
because that is everything to the school. So the orchestra, just to explain to you as well, doesn't just have the students from our school. The orchestra is a community orchestra, so we would have violin students from other teachers as well.
Yeah.
They're not specifically part. We're everybody as well to the orchestra. It's not a Musica Fusion run. It's Musica Fusion run, but it's not specifically for Musica Fusion. So we decided to have a Zoom meeting with our 80 odd small children orchestra, and me being very fresh to the whole Zoom thing. It was very fun. So it was good. So we pitched an idea to them that we would do a video. One of our favorite songs was Inspector Gadget, and we've been practicing it. And we weren't quite sure how to do it. We watched all the other people do it on Facebook and putting up these wonderful videos with 20, 30 people in boxes all playing away. And we were like, how are we going to do this now for these small children?
Yes.
So we got together the teachers, and the teachers recorded, we said the violin teacher recorded 3 violin lines with the background of the music, sent it to the parent. The parent then put headphones on the child then played along to it. Completely all over the place with the 4-year-olds. They were everywhere, but they were thoroughly enjoying it. But we had enough really good students that were able to do it, to pull it together. And that was our biggest lockdown project. Abby Neelinchik, I don't know how she did it. I collected the videos, but she combined them all. She's our string teacher. She was absolutely fantastic. So much work went into it. So that was us in lockdown.
Yeah. We've seen some of these, and we've featured some of these on the podcast indeed already. And I think one of the most interesting things, and we're going to thanks to you and the Musica Fusion Community Orchestra, we're going to feature that piece before we finish here today as well, Susie. But one of the things I think to bear in mind, and what strikes me looking at this, is that we've seen a lot of collaborative multi-part videos like that different bands and groups and organisations and big orchestras and small have done. But the interesting thing is some of your performers in this are as young as 4 years old.
Absolutely. I mean, they had no idea what was going on. And the parents were saying to us, I can't really send you the video. They're not playing it right. And we were like, send it in. It's great crack. The faces on them. I missed them all so much that every time my phone pinged when a new video came in, I stopped what I was doing and I was sitting down and I was watching. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, like, there was tears in my eyes many times because, we're very close to everybody in the school. We're a real family. And, I'm 6 months not having seen these guys, not having seen my teachers, not having seen these kids. And we really miss them. I can't wait to be back.
So you're going back, Susie, you're going back when, next week?
So we're going back. We're opening, the music shop is opening on the 5th of September. The music school is opening on the 7th.
Right.
We're not opening the way we wanted to because of the newest restrictions. So, for example, performing arts, hip hop, ballet, we've had to make adjustments to the reopening of that because of the new restrictions. We have to have 2 teachers rather than 1. We have to have 2 pods. It's changing every day, so it's quite scary. The main music school shouldn't be a big problem. We are in a wonderful big old cinema. I have a long-term lease on it. It's 10,000 square feet, and with beautiful open classrooms, big spaces, high wall or high ceilings. So space for us really isn't an issue, thank God. But I've had to be very inventive about how to kind of make it fun, because I don't want the kids coming from school where everything is you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do the other, into what's supposed to be great crack in Musica Fusion and having the same rules. So I just spent the last few weeks, I'm looking around at my floor here, I've got all sorts of kind of arrows and gaffer tape. I've got hula hoops everywhere. I've hula hooped the school, which I know is going to sound really strange, but hula hoops so that the kids can jump from one hoop to another, so that they can kind of follow along the arrows, and so that it's fun, basically. In the dance classes, rather than having their X marked on the floor, we've got hula hoops, so they have their own big bubbles. And then the adult students will find it funny as well. But the cleaning, the preparation, we've had to clear a lot of rooms from, we love beanbags in school. They're non-existent now anymore. We can't use them. There's an awful lot that we have to think about, and it is a huge responsibility. And I don't mind telling you, I have many sleepless nights worrying about my teachers and are we doing it right? Do I buy the screens? Do I not? Some people now are saying don't buy the screens because they stop the aerosols dispersing. It's very hard to know. So I think all of us that are opening up, whether it's primary school, secondary school, music school, all we can do is we can take the advice that we're given, do the very, very best that we can, with what we know, and just try our best. That's all we can do. It's changing every day. So,
Yes,
but I am nervous. I am nervous. We're doing a blended learning. We're offering the parents a chance to do blended learning as well. So,
right.
like a lot of
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So, but basically, we did online before we finished up, and that was purely online. That suits some people. It suits older kids and things like that. It doesn't really suit the small students. But you see, because of the new guidelines, if a child has a runny nose or a sniffly nose, they're not actually allowed to come to music lessons.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to offer them their music lesson. So blended learning is basically they have face-to-face term, but whenever they want to go online, they can. So if, for example, a child is symptomatic but not sick, they can just ring in the morning and say, you know what, I won't send him in. And we say, oh, that's no problem. We'll have a Zoom lesson at the same time. So that's blended learning. They can choose as well, however many they want. If they want, we have 14 weeks in our term. If they want to do, 10 weeks face-to-face and then 4 weeks online, that's fine. If they want to do all online, they can do it. With the individual teachers, it's fine. It won't really work like that with the group classes. They have to actually come to the group classes. But it is a start, and it's something a little bit different that we're offering for peace of mind for parents, because we would have, I'd say, maybe about 10% of the school that will not come back. They will come back to online learning only. And we have lost a lot as well, because I suppose people are saying, well, we're coming out of a lockdown situation into school. Let's limit everything else, So we are coming back to a decrease in numbers, which is sad. But I know they're there, and I know they'll be back. And anyone who isn't coming back has said that. They just said, look, Susie, we will be back, but we're just, we're huddling up a little bit more than we used to before, which is so understandable. It's hard to go on, I suppose, as a business, it's hard to kind of keep it all going. So that's the worry, I suppose, that we can keep running it, keep paying bills and keep the teachers employed, because I have the most amazing teachers in my school. I mean, they what they didn't do over the summer online, the contact they made with their students, they're not getting paid for any of that. I mean, this orchestra project that took 50, 60, 70 hours, that they were involved in, musicians are wonderful people, because they're so giving up their time, and my teachers are totally giving up their time, and I really appreciate that.
It's a lot of work, clearly, Susie, and it's a lot of work that you've put in over the last few years in building this up. I suppose one of the advantages is that you see the rewards, you see the response as well. Interestingly, last week on the podcast, I was talking to Justin McCarthy, who is the composer and producer of Playboy of the Western World, the musical, and Justin said something interesting, and I just thought I'd ask you this as well, because we're going listening to your virtual orchestra collaboration. Justin was saying that with the best will in the world and all the due respect to the capabilities of Zoom and live streaming technology, it's just not the same as actual live performance in front of an audience, with the exchange of emotion and empathy that involves. Would you agree with that yourself, Susie? I mean, it's a substitute, obviously.
Yeah, I would. You know what? It was fine and it was fun at the start. But, oh my God, I can't wait to see my kids again.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get back to actually learning. And there's a lag with Zoom. I mean, as a music teacher, so if I'm playing along with somebody, I have to focus on the fact that they are playing it right, but they're a few seconds behind me, and I have to still be able to correct them.
Yes.
I have to still work out, is their timing right? Is their notes right?
Yeah.
So you've like this kind of double thing going on.
Yeah.
I think all of the teachers have said it is probably the hardest thing they've ever had to do. It is not an easy job doing it on Zoom, not music lessons anyway.
Yes.
So we just can't wait to get back. I mean, the hardest thing I think for us is, I mean, the kids are going to run in the door trying to give us big hugs, because that's what happens here. Like, God, what do we do?
Yeah.
God. Yeah. I'm just dreading that part of it. But, face to face, that's what we're all about. That's what this building is about. It's full of music. I keep saying this, but it is full of music and mayhem, because there's just so much going on here,
Will you be able to hold orchestra rehearsals and that under the current guidelines, or will you have to wait until that's relaxed a little bit more?
So under the current guidelines, we have 15 indoors, so no. So what we're going to do is we'll more than likely do some sectionals.
Right.
So we'll get the teachers to maybe take first violins, take cellos, take basses, take flutes, take trumpets, take trombones, however many teachers I can get to volunteer to do this, because it does take an awful lot of extra work to do that.
Yes.
I need a lot of extra teachers to do it. So we'll try our best to do it that way. We have a goal that we have a couple of really difficult pieces that we're going to learn. So the sectionals will work quite well at the start, but we will give it a few weeks back before we even revisit the orchestra. Now, we have a 4,000 square feet auditorium of sorts upstairs with a purpose-built stage for the orchestra that the orchestra fundraised for. In typical musician style, I've built the stage, but there isn't even a proper floor there. But it is absolutely, it's an amazing space. And what I've done when we're allowed to have more than 15 people is I've taken the orchestra off the stage and put them in the audience so that I can socially distance them out. And I will stand as the conductor on the stage.
Right.
So that way, when we're allowed more than 15 people, yes, absolutely, we will be back to orchestra straight away. It's the one thing that all the kids are looking forward to. All the teachers are looking forward to, and the parents can't wait to get back to that as well. It's a great community.
That's absolutely wonderful. You're in good company. You're talking about marking out sections with tape and that on the floor, Susie. I just saw it this morning, and we'll post this in the video version of the podcast as well. I saw the RTE Concert Orchestra have posted on their Instagram this morning the layout for their studio at the moment. I think it's the big studio in the Radio Centre in Dublin, and there is tape and everything showing exactly where everybody sits and social distancing and all of that. And you know, these are things. It's a new way of living. Hopefully it won't be for forever, Susie, but it is great to see people like yourselves and others that we've had on the show finding ways to overcome things, finding ways to make the best of it, and finding ways to keep in touch with what's important.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do it with as much enthusiasm as possible, because it's been such a hard time for everybody, for the parents with the stress of not having jobs and things like that, but for the kids as well. They cannot wait to get back, and they're coming back to something that is totally different than what they left. So it behooves us to basically make it as fun as possible for them. Let us worry about that, you know, let them come in and find it, you know, enjoyable to hop through hoops and to follow the arrows and to see the funny comments. We have funny comments all over the wall to make them laugh. And, you know, it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. Yeah, I really am. There's always a way. You know, I spend many nights awake thinking, I could try this, that'll work. You know, there's always a way to make it work. We just have to be very inventive in the way we do it, because as you say, unfortunately, I don't see this going for the next year anyway. I think we just have to live with it and get on with it, you know.
Well, you seem to be doing a great job at that. Susie King Butler, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Finally, just before we go, I mentioned the Playboy of the Western World, the musical. The episode previous to this was an interview with Justin McCarthy, who's the composer and co-producer of that. He's been in touch to tell me that the show has been rescheduled to the 15th of September, running for 3 nights at least initially. That's 2 weeks later than we told you last week, and it is out of doors, socially distanced at Galway Summer Garden. Tickets must be booked in advance at galwaysummergarden.ie. Agus sinna will. We'll leave you for this week with the Musica Fusion Community Orchestra, conducted by Susie King Butler. They're from Charleville in County Cork, and here's their rendition of the theme from Inspector Gadget. Good day and tachtan chuin slongafol.